This is Cookie. I did a makeup tutorial on my Pride look, and here we go. I primed my eyelids with MAC Painterly Paint Pot using the MAC brush 242, and I'm literally just going to paint that on. Start from my lash line all the way up to my brow bone. I like using the paint pot because it gives something for the eyeshadow to stick onto, and it kind of cancels out any of the discoloration on your eyelids. So that is why I chose the Painterly Paint Pot. Then I'm going to set it with a white eyeshadow by MAC, Milli Vanilli, and a MAC brush 217. I just dusted all over where I put the Painterly. I used white because I thought it would make the colors kind of stand out more and brighter. I grabbed my MAC Art Library. It's designer eyeshadow palette. The first color I'm using is Chrome Yellow with a MAC brush 221. I am doing a rainbow effect, so I'm placing each of the colors in small sections. Then next I use my Kid Could Make That eyeshadow with a Morph brush. I'm not sure the name of it. It came in a 5-pack brush set. It's just a small shader brush. I'm going to put that right next to the yellow. Next, I'm using the same palette. I'm taking the shade Triennial Wave using a clean small shader brush from Morphe and placing that right next to the green shade. So I just go back in and blend out all the colors I have so far. I don't want to have any harsh lines. I want it to blend upwards towards the brow bone. I'm using the same brushes for each color I used to lay down the original color. I'm not adding any more color with the blue and green, just using what was left on the brush. I do pick up more color with the yellow because I really want that color to be bright. I go in with Darkroom, same MAC palette with the MAC brush 286. I'm going in a V shape at the outer corner, kind of winging it out. I'm taking the color Can't Afford This on a MAC brush 217, and I'm going on the other side, placing it next to the Chrome Yellow. Just keeping that in the inner corner of the eye. So I created this palette at MAC. I wasn't feeling the outside. I thought it could be a little bit deeper, so I grabbed the color I'm into it using the same brush as I used for Darkroom, the 286. I'm just blending it right into that purple shade at the outer corner, keeping it the V shape. I go over each shade using the brush I originally used for each color. So again, I felt I wanted each color to be a little bit more deeper and a little bit more noticeable. I went in first with Chrome Yellow, which is really the same color as the Art Library palette, but I didn't realize that until I looked at all the colors. But anyways, the other colors I used to deepen are different. For green, I used the eyeshadow Kelly. For blue, I used Atlantic Blue. And as it says, I took a clean MAC brush, the 224, to blend out the edges. Next, I'm taking Hard Candy's Glamouflage, which is a heavy-duty concealer. This is my favorite to cut the crease with, but that is the only thing I use it for. With that, I like to take Real Techniques brush, the detailer brush, because it's small and it's kind of rounded and it's really easy to control and it gets less messy. My crease isn't that high, like I don't have a very big lid space. I want the glitter that I'm going to use to show when my eyes are open. I'm going to fake it by creating a bigger lid space by cutting the crease higher. I'm not bringing it right to the end. I'm just going to fade it out towards it. I want to keep that area dark. I'm going to set with the concealer with the MAC eyeshadow Silly Vanilli and a small packer brush. Honestly, I don't know where I got it. I think it might be Tammy Lamouche's makeup brush. Shout out Tammy. Thank you for the brush. Just kidding. I didn't steal it. I'm just gonna pack that shade right over all of the concealer where I cut my crease with. It's gonna make it non-sticky and easier to blend the other eyeshadows over. So I'm going back to MAC's Art Library palette. It's Designer. I'm taking Darkroom with the MAC brush 286 and I'm placing that on the outer corners and blending it in and some on the cut crease and then deepening it with I'm Into It from my other eyeshadow palette. Again, keeping that V shape. Then I decided to do a halo effect, so I Can't Afford This with a MAC brush 217 and blended it on the inner corner of my eyes, blending it upwards into the cut crease. And then I'm taking Chrome Yellow and just blending that right beside the orange color. I use the same brush, 221. Going back in the outer corners, I'm taking the blue shade Triannual Wave. Next, I use MAC Dazzle Shadow Liquid, Not Afraid to Sparkle, and I'm placing that right in the center of the cut crease, blending it kind of over the other shadows that I just put down. Over top of that, I'm taking the loose glitter from MAC Silver Hologram with a paddle brush and some Fix Plus spray. I wet the brush so the brush can grab more glitter and it has less fallout. So I went over the edges with Folklore Heavy Metal Eyeliner. So next I just wiped away all of the fallout from the glitter and eyeshadow with MAC Gently Off Wipes and Micellar Water. Next I prime my face with Time Check Lotion Plus Primer. I like that it blurs texture and fine lines on the skin. I want my face to look as smooth as can be. I am using Studio Fix Fluid for foundation. It is a matte foundation, which I love. I am oily in the center of my face, and I feel like matte just lasts longer on my skin. I use the shade NC16. I'm using the same brush as I did to apply my primer. I like to start with a small amount, brushing it all over my face and neck. And then I like to use a clean beauty blender sprayed with MAC's Fix Plus spray, and I just push the foundation right into the skin. I go back with more of the Studio Fix Fluid, layering it in the center where I want more coverage, using the same brush and then again the beauty blender. I also like to layer my concealer. I am about that full coverage life. The first concealer I use is LA Girl Pro Conceal in Light Ivory, which I like to use it first to cancel out some of the blue under my eyes. Over that, I use Maybelline New York Instant Age Rewind in Ivory. I also use this concealer to start my contouring by putting it on the tip of my nose, my chin, the middle of my brows, and my laugh lines. To set my foundation and concealer, I use MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation, which will give me more coverage. I said I love full coverage. Nobody can know I have real skin under here. Just joking. Next, I take NC20 in the Studio Fix Powder and a fluffy brush. I'm going to sweep that on the edges of my face. To contour, I'm using a MAC palette that I created. I'm using the colors Sculpt and Taupe, which are more cooler tones. Since I'm a lighter skin tone, I don't want it to look too orangey. I am using a brush that I got at Dollarama. It's just a fluffy powder brush. It kind of got like an angle to it, and some of the sides are a little bit flat. I feel like it just gets to right into my cheekbone there, so I can get a nice contour. To contour my nose, I use the eyeshadow Omega with a Real Techniques contour brush. Omega is more of a grayish brown shade, which I feel is perfect for me because it's less noticeable when I'm contouring. Going back to my eyes, I'm going to coat my lashes with Maybelline New York Great Lash in Blackest Black. These are eyelashes that I ordered online. I did double them up to give more drama. I'm not sure of the name. Hopefully I'll get that and I can post that in the comments below. I am now going into cheekbones. I'm now using Cheekbones Beauty's Stardust Highlighting Palette in Glow Dust to highlight the high points of my face using the MAC brush 159. I love this highlight. It makes my skin look like glass. Use my code COOKIE to save 10% off. Now I'm going to take the blush Gingerly by MAC and one of my big fluffy brushes that I got with my Morphe set that I mentioned earlier. I'm only going to put the blush on one side of the brush and lightly sweep it on the apples of my cheeks. Like a transition shade from my contour to the other blush shade, which I'm going to use is the blush Pinch O Peach, which is kind of a brighter, pinkier blush. I feel like it just looks better than just going right from darker to bright color. Going back to the eyes, the first color I'm using from the MAC palette, its designer is Darkroom with the MAC brush 286, and as you can see, I just bend it there in the middle to kind of keep the color closer to my eyes. The next color, Triennial Wave, with the same brush as before. Next is My Kid Could Make That, and then Chrome Yellow. I didn't use this color before, but in the same palette, I used Bright Pink and the MAC brush 217 in the inner corner, blending it in with both top and bottom colors. I felt it darkened too much for my liking, so I used the Cheekbone Beauty's highlight in Glow Dust to brighten. I also went in and made the outer corners darker with the MAC shadow I'm Into It. I did line my waterline with Wet n Wild Kohl liner in blue. To coat the bottom lashes, I used Maybelline New York Great Lash in Blackest Black. I then lined my lips with MAC Lip Liner in Strip Down. I prime my lips using MAC Pep and Prime Lip. You always want to prepare your lips before using any liquid mattes. It just feels better and it makes the lipstick last longer. I am taking Cheekbone Beauty's liquid lipstick in Melina, keeping it on the edges and the outer corners of my lips. Sometimes I get a little messy, so I just go back in with my lip liner and then just even everything out. I do overline my lips to make them look fuller. Next, I use Cheekbone Beauty's liquid lipstick in Buffy. I keep this right in the center. It's just a brighter color. Again, I'm giving that contour effect to look like my lips are fuller. And then again, I'm just going to go back in with my pencil to make sure that the outer corners are darker. I added MAC Smarty Pants lip gloss also in the center. The lip gloss has like a gold sparkle to it. Thank you so much for watching. You can definitely leave me some comments below if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas or suggestions for another video. Or if you want to book with me, you can contact me on Facebook, Kristen Cookie Monroe, makeup artist, or on Instagram as KristenCookieMonroe.mua. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe.